Hello, everyone. I'm Dwayne Bonifer in the Lindsey Wilson College Office of Public Relations, and this is The View from the Hill, the podcast of Lindsey Wilson College. Every week during the academic year, The View from the Hill features conversations with some of the people who help create the dynamic, living, learning environment that serves the educational needs of every Lindsey Wilson student every day. In this 17th edition of the 2025 View from the Hill podcast, we're going to celebrate one of the legends of Lindsey Wilson music professor and director of choral programs, Gerald Chafin, who recently took his final bow as Maestro of the Lindsey Wilson Singers. For more than a quarter of a century, Lindsey Wilson music professor and director of choral programs Gerald Chafin has led, shaped, and directed the Lindsey Wilson Singers. Under Gerald's guidance, the Lindsey Wilson Singers were transformed from merely the college's choir into a group that not only performed marvelous and memorable concerts both on campus and throughout Columbia-Adair County, but also as a group of world-traveling ambassadors who represented Lindsey Wilson in 42 states and in 7 countries. Their performances included multiple appearances at Carnegie Hall, the Rome Choral Festival, the Paris Choral Festival, the Dublin Choral Festival, and the Mozart Choral Festival. This year's spring commencement marked the final time Gerald directed the Lindsey Wilson Singers. Gerald will continue to serve Lindsey Wilson as Director of Church Relations for what will soon be Lindsey Wilson University. Of course, the Singers gave another memorable performance at this year's spring commencement, but it was the ensemble's 780th performance under Gerald's direction, their gala concert back on April 13th at Columbia Christian Church, that marked the final time Gerald directed the group in an entire performance. And what a performance it was. In addition to a marvelous selection of music, the April 13th event also included the announcement of the largest gift to the fine and performing arts in the 122-year history of Lindsey Wilson. In honor of 28 years of service to the Singers by Gerald and his wife Sonia, it was announced that more than 50 alumni and friends of the choral program had combined to give more than $110,000 to establish the Dr. Gerald and Sonia Chafin Music Endowment. The endowment will be used to support the Lindsey Wilson Singers. The event attracted dozens of Lindsey Wilson Singers alumni from throughout the 28 years Gerald has directed the group, so we had several of them offer their thoughts about Lindsey Wilson Singers and Gerald's impact on the group and the young people who made up the roster over the years.
All right, I'm Daniel Moody. I graduated in 2004, and I would describe Dr. Chafin best as almost like a second dad to me and my family. Super important. He officiated our wedding and an all-around great guy.
My name is Bailey Gifford, and I graduated Lindsey in 2015. Easily one of the most memorable moments of my experience as a singer would be the Air Force Academy when we got to sing there in Colorado. And if I could sum up Dr. Chafin in a phrase, it would be music takes you places.
My name is Chelsea Pike. I graduated in 2015. My most memorable moment with the Singers is performing a solo at the 2012 Roman International Choral Festival in Rome. Describing Dr. Chafin, I would say he's the most passionate, loving professor that we have on campus here.
My name is Abby Calhoun. I graduated in 2016, and one of my favorite Singers memories is freshman tour. I was rooming with Brittany Smith. We had a very interesting host family experience. The house was filled with many dolls, and one was a life-sized doll that was posted outside of our bedroom door. I don't think we slept for one moment. That night. It was also wearing our host's mother's wedding dress, and it was like in her likeness. So I do think we were haunted. To describe Gerald Chafin in one word feels impossible, but I would have to say inimitable, indescribable. He's eccentric. He's lovely.
My name is Logan Adams. I graduated in 2018. My favorite Singers memory is probably just all the people that I met along the way, lifelong friends that I probably wouldn't have met without Singers. Dr. Chafin is hard to describe. I think maybe like a cartoon character because he's full of energy and animated all the time. But he's an enigma because I also can't pin him down with one word. So a savant, really.
Hello, my name is Kate Durham Young. I graduated graduated Lindsey in 2018. If I had to think of a favorite singer's memory, it's not really one in particular, but the host families, I would say. And then looking back on it and realizing my frontal lobe was not developed, and I just had way too much trust for these people. But it ended up great, and lots of stories from that. If I had to explain Dr. Chafin in one word, I would say optimistic.
My name is Molly Atkinson. I graduated in 2010. Dr. Chafin is just such a special and unique individual, and you can just tell by the people in the room that we love him, and he has invested in all of us and has taken us all over the world, has shown us all sorts of special places, has made special memories, and you can tell that he cares about each and every one of his students.
This is Greg Medendorf from the class of 2007. Probably my favorite memory of him is actually after Singers ended, is that I didn't know what to do as far as a career once I graduated, and he wrote me a letter of recommendation without me even asking, which landed my first job, and that led to my career. So doing those sorts of things without even asking is what makes him a great guy to know, and that's why I came back today.
Jennifer Moody. I graduated in 2005. Yes. But Dr. Chafin is a true example of a father figure, even when he's not your father. He has been life-changing in our lives.
I'm Abby Fackler, was Abby Downs when I was here at Lindsey Wilson. I graduated in 2007. One of my favorite singers' memories is when we went to Carnegie Hall, and I got to run around New York City with the Chafins and find all of the You've Got Mail scenes in like the park and the stores and stuff like that. That was cool. Describing Gerald Chafin in one word or phrase: father-like. I think that's a good one. Yeah.
Hi, my name's Heather Davis. I graduated from Lindsey Wilson College in 2005. And a little about Dr. Chafin, it's hard to put his impact in a couple of sentences specifically for my life, but I believe there were a lot of moments when Dr. Chafin made a way whenever I didn't think there was a way for me to participate. And I think a lot of us can say he acted a lot like a father figure to many of us, and that is something I'll never forget.
My name is Sarah Foose, and I graduated in 2004. My favorite singer's memory, probably my senior year on tour. We were in Galveston, Texas, and there's 4 guys on the beach in their trunks, and Gerald Chafin comes out in a parka. And how do you put him into words? There aren't enough words, but then there are also too many. He's one of the most caring and selfless individuals I've ever met, and I'm thankful that he was my professor and then a colleague and now a friend.
My name is Jenny Burdine Mullins, and I graduated both in 2009 and 2011, also as a grad student. And my favorite singer's memory was a year that we were singing in Houston, Texas, and we were singing at a house for young males who were homeless. And just the impact of getting to sing and worship and have conversations with those men really impacted me long term. And to put Gerald Chafin into words is such a difficult thing to do. He has always been so kind and so encouraging to me. I'm thankful to be able to continue to call him a friend.
My name is Charlie Gibson, graduated in 2015. If I had to describe Chafin, it would be the man has an infectious energy. He definitely is something that has always kept me going after college, is to have that light that he emits. I continue to use it to help others.
My name is Alyssa Gooden, and I'm the class of 2008. And my favorite way to describe Dr. Chafin is actually a saying he's known for: educationally enhancing, relationally rewarding, and spiritually sustaining.
Hi, Benson Sexton, class of 2004. Dr. Chafin, he certainly brings energy, intensity, and passion to everything that he does. I would just say that I'm so grateful for the quirky little choir director that chased me down on campus and asked me to be in Singers.
Chad Mitchell, to a class of 2003. One word I would actually describe Dr. Chafin is life-changing. He changed my life, helped me see who I am as a man, and I appreciate him for it.
LaFawn Nettles, 2002 alum of Lindsey Wilson College, and my favorite singer's memory is when Stephanie Linkless set the basket of rolls on fire at Greensburg Baptist Church. And Dr. Chafin, in one sentence, he's the king of puns.
My name is Laura Burwash, and I'm a class of 2003 from Lindsey Wilson College. College, and my favorite memory probably would have to be we were at Niagara Falls, and our first host family about backed over the falls, and we almost all died. The one word I think I would use to describe Dr. Chafin would be change maker.
Hi, my name is Emily Ramage Lindsey, and I graduated Lindsey Wilson in 2014. One of my favorite Lindsey Wilson Singers memories would be traveling to Italy and singing at the Vatican. That was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Dr. Gerald Chafin could be described as a brilliant, kind, compassionate, and passionate human being that not only believes in music and the power of music, but along with its ministry, and he also believes in every student.
You're listening to the Lindsey Wilson View from the Hill podcast. I'm Dwayne Bonifer in the Lindsey Wilson Office of Public Relations. We're listening to the alumni of the Lindsey Wilson Singers program reflect on Gerald Chafin's 28 years of leadership, innovation, and imagination. Gerald directed the musical group for the final time at Spring Commencement, which was back on May 2nd and 3rd. You can read all about Spring Commencement in the news section of the Lindsey Wilson College website, and that URL is lindsey.edu/news. That's also where you can read about the Lindsey Wilson Singers Gala Concert. Now let's get back to some of the reflections from Singers alumni about the impact and legacy of Gerald and Sonia Chafin during their nearly 3 decades with the musical ensemble.
So I'm Nicole Burton. I was a year 2015. My favorite memory is my freshman year. I was sick for like 2 weeks. I would go up in the very corner, and I would just do that class, and then I would almost crawl back to Philip's dorm. But Dr. Chafin, I think, appreciated my dedication to class. I was feeling so bad. His dedication to excellence really set the stage for the rest of my life and for my career, for my professional development. He worked us hard in a good way.
Hi, I'm Brittany Miller-Schmidt, class of 03. Dr. Chafin, he's a dynamo. He's a powerhouse of love and compassion and really bad dad jokes. He's a mentor, he's a leader, and he's a father figure for many, many, many of us that needed guidance and love during our college years and beyond.
All right, I'm April Richardson Hatcher. I graduated in 02. My favorite memory from the Singers was probably in 2001, actually, when we got to go back after 9/11. At some point, we got to go and sing the national anthem for the Reds and Braves game. So that was really memorable because everyone was hopeful after that song. My favorite word for Dr. Chafin is he just gives so much of himself. He's so generous, I guess. Generous with his time and his encouragement and how music leads the way. It's been a part of my life that I will cherish.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Good, Rebecca Sanders when I was at Lindsey Wilson College Singer, and I graduated in 2016. I did not know a single student when I came to Lindsey, and so the Singers was where I made fast friends and really found a family. And of course, Dr. Chafin was a big part of cultivating that culture and really creating what felt like a really tight-knit community. And obviously, by how many people are here today, we still feel that way, and we still love singing our fellow Singers alum. We still feel like community, a family.
Hi there, my name is Kayla Kerner, and I am a recent graduate of Lindsey Wilson College. And when I think back of my time in Singers, I just can't help but just think of just the community that we have had, knowing I was in a community of people who loved and cared for me. That's how I would describe Dr. Chafin, as seeing a potential in me that I did not see within myself, and he is such a blessing.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Duncan. I am a 2020 graduate of Lindsey Wilson College. My favorite Lindsey Wilson Singers memory is when we were in the middle of Azle, Texas. I got to perform Orpa in a beautiful chapel in basically the middle of the woods, and it was a very spiritual and connected moment. My thing that I love most about Gerald Chafin is his ability to not pick only good musicians, but good people, and to foster growth in them and make them believe in themselves, because he did that for me.
My name is Benjamin Duncan. The culminating experience of lifelong friends, my wife, whom I met through the Singers, and all the mentorship that Gerald Chafin, Robert Reynolds, and many others at this campus provided, just truly blessed my life and just brought me to a lot of great places in life. Music truly led the way.
My name is Andrew Ferguson. I graduated in 2014. Dr. Chafin, though,
Oh man, he has this uncanny ability to find the good in people and pull it out. I've said this to him before. He was one of, if not the first person, to see leadership in me, to pull out any kind of creativity whatsoever. And those things are critical to who I am now. I get to share music with my daughter, and that's not possible without Dr. Chafin.
I'm Allison Chafin Thrower. I graduated in 2013.
I'm Stephen Chafin. I graduated in 2017.
So we obviously grew up around singers and the singers culture, and he often talked about people like John Wooden and leadership things and group dynamics at home, which shouldn't be surprising. But on one particular trip, we got to see some of this in action. So you may know that he is a Star Trek fan, and we were on a tour in Las Vegas, and there were a couple of students who will remain unnamed who were very late to the bus because they were seeing an exhibit of the Starship Enterprise. And this is one of the very few times that Dad has been angry in front of the group. And years later, it's funny, but he said to them in front of everyone, then you would know that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. And years later, that's so funny to think about him getting mad and quoting Star Trek at his students.
I think my favorite thoughts about my dad and the singers group is always watching alumni come back and seeing what kind of influence he's had on their lives. Lets you feel like your father spent his work doing something worth doing.
I agree with what Steven said. It's emotional for people to come back and to talk about how he's changed the trajectory of their lives. He certainly has ours, and we're grateful that he's our dad.
Those are some of the alumni of the Lindsey Wilson Singers who were in Columbia for the April 13th gala concert, reflecting on the impact of Gerald Chafin's nearly 3 decades of leadership, in which he made the group educationally enhancing, relationally rewarding, and spiritually sustaining. You can read more about it in the news section of the Lindsey Wilson College website, and that URL is lindsey.edu/news. And that's going to do it for this 17th edition of 2025's View from the Hill. View from the Hill is produced by Shelby Burton. She's Lindsey Wilson's Assistant Director of Public Relations and Media Producer. And you can tell us what you like or don't like about this podcast by firing off an email to us at news@lindsey.edu. Be sure to put podcast in the subject line. And be sure to encourage your friends, family members, co-workers, and neighbors to subscribe to View from the Hill. They can do that on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and the college's YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/LWC Public Relations. Until our next edition, I'm Dwayne Bonifer in the Lindsey Wilson Office of Public Relations. Thanks so much for listening. So long, everybody, and have a nice day.